Domingo Sadurni is a program assistant with the Adrian Arsht Latin America Center at the Atlantic Council. So this late resignation last night, he's finally stepping down. He was very resistant up to this point. So why did he do it? Why did he finally give in?
Thank you for having me. Look, I think there's a number of variables that came into place for this unprecedented moment in Puerto Rico to come about. And we saw how Puerto Ricans for over 2 weeks came together in a largely nonpartisan, nonviolent mass protest calling for his resignation. But you have to add the variable that he lost support from his party. He lost support from the US. He lost support from people who were with him in the first time when he came into power.
So he really had no other choice.
He had no other choice in terms of, because the looming impeachment proceedings that were in his back, if he didn't resign, really made it really hard for him to stay in power because he had no capacity to govern.
So this is just one step in this process for Puerto Rico, still recovering in many ways economically and post-hurricane. What is next politically? Even if he is gone, the next governor has a lot of challenges.
Right, so the next governor needs to fill over 20 vacancies in the cabinet. That's from the operational side, but even larger than that. Puerto Rico is still recovering from Hurricane Maria. Puerto Rico is still living an economic decline for over 10 years. It still has a fiscal crisis that has been really affecting the country, and it still has to deal with the Fiscal Oversight Board, which after the governor resigns in August 2nd, is still a reality in Puerto Rico. It's federally appointed, it's still gonna be there.
So what do we know about Wanda Vazquez?
So Wanda Vazquez has been in Puerto Rican politics for over 20 years. She's been in the Department of Justice for many years, and most recently in 2017, she was investigated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor for potentially intervening in an investigation over a housing dispute that involved 2 family members. The judge dismissed the case for insufficient evidence, but the Puerto Rican people still view her as part of Rossello's inner circle and not a new face that they want.
So what will happen then? I mean, she's more of the same, according to what you're saying. Could we see more protests? What will it take to make Puerto Ricans happy?
That's a hard question to answer in one sentence, but I will say this. This is a precedent was set yesterday in Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans are increasingly fed up with the mismanagement and the lack of accountability in the political class. New leaders that come in the future in Puerto Rico will have to take in mind a clear vision of how to restore public trust, and they'll have to keep in mind how to manage the situations that led to the resignation, which is the first ever in Puerto Rico's history.
And do you see people there waiting in the wings? Is there a new class of politicians ready to take ownership of the government?
It's hard to say at the moment. I believe that there are many well-educated, competent, and honest Puerto Ricans in the island that are willing to put in the good work that is necessary for Puerto Rico to get back on track. But I think we'll have yet to see how the crisis that we're living now evolves and how that unfolds to see if they're gonna step up and fill the vacancies of power and restore the trust in the public institutions.
But looking back at the past 24 hours?
Looking back at the 24 hours, it's looking pretty good.
All right, Domingo Sadurni, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.